Welcome back to the Around the District podcast. I'm Gabrielle Mazar.
I'm Nicole Brown.
And today we're going to talk about the impact that everything is going on small businesses. I myself am a small business owner, so I see firsthand what's going on. And I hear a lot about what's going on with the small businesses around us. I'm sure you hear a lot with especially the ones in our district, the blue businesses that we hear about, our friends and family members, and just people talking about what's going on. You have anything that people tell you in particular?
Yeah, customers stop coming. Coffee houses, general stores, people will not spend money on what's not necessary if, the cost of living has gone up, if inflation has gone up. Lots of people are living check to check or working 2 or 3 jobs. They don't have the money to spend on anything extra, even if it'll benefit them in some kind of way.
Yeah.
And you see that in our small businesses. In our community, what we're trying to do in LD12 is really focus on small blue businesses and spotlighting them because, we want to support the folks in our community. And we can see and hear that businesses have gone under because of things like inflation,
Right. COVID.
People stopped going outside for what, a month or
Yeah.
two?
Recession.
Recessions, which we're headed towards if things continue the way they are.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that affect it. I think the on again, off again tariffs, I think are. I don't have products, so products don't necessarily affect me, but the on again, off again, I think it brings so much uncertainty. And I think, especially a lot of my clientele is retired or within retirement age or even in their 40s, 50s. And that is a big deal because, like you said, with discretionary income, the first thing to go is things that you don't necessarily need. So, from what I have seen in my personal business, is not necessarily people stop coming, is that people spend differently. So instead of buying larger packages, people will just buy a one-time drop in, or they will buy larger packages when they usually buy smaller packages because it's less per class. Or I see people kind of drop off. It's just the buying patterns of what I normally see of people because I really watch that. And I know how my clients purchase, all of them. I know every single one of them. And I have about 500 clients, like recurring clients as of right now. So I watch these patterns and I see them, and I've just been seeing kind of over the last 2 months how things have just been shifting, and it's very interesting to me to watch this. And I have uncertainty and kind of this uneasy feeling of where is this going to go. And especially during, I don't see things happening like they did during COVID because obviously we're not going to get shut down. But I have this sort of like, you don't know what to do. There's a confusion because it's like, what's going to happen? What are we doing? What choices do you make? Where do you spend money? Where do you save money? Because normally in business, you have an idea or a path or a goal. You set your goal, your quarterly goals, your yearly goals. But when things are shifting every single day, you're like, what am I doing? What do I do? I have no idea, because I could make $20,000 this month. I could make 10. I could make 30. I could make 50. I have no idea because people are shifting so much every single day. So I've been hearing a lot with other owners too.
Where you don't have products involved, you still can see a drop in your clientele, right?
Yes.
Where those who have products they're selling,
right,
they have to put that cost onto
their consumers.
Correct. Because the cost of the product itself will go up, shipping will go up, and either they're going to have to buy in bigger bulks or smaller bulks or less cheap, more cheaper. I'm not saying that right, but a cheaper product. And we're hearing that too.
Mhm.
Like coffee shops, fast food restaurants, things to that sort, where people are they have to now,
Clothing,
yeah, they
especially
have to put
clothing.
that cost onto the customer,
Right.
like eggs, right? Remember when the eggs went up to like $7 or more,
Yeah.
for 12 a dozen eggs or whatever, and it's that kind of thing on steroids right now because of who, this con man who considered himself a businessman who went bankrupt 6 times, and people thought he was going to do us a
To be
justice.
clear, that's not a good thing. It means you're not doing well. But, what do I know?
You
But
mean,
well,
if you have to file bankruptcy
let's
six
just
times,
let's
that
just
means
say
the
it.
taxpayers bailed you out.
Right.
That's what that means.
And let's just say this. So let's say you're a clothing company that screen prints clothing, right? And you get all of your product from China. Now, if you have, let's just make it an even number at 100% tariff. Your product now doubles in price. So even if you're buying in bulk, you're still paying twice as much to get the same product. And now you have to take that price and get that off to your customer. So now your customer is paying twice as much, which means whatever your customer is charging, because we have merchandise, which I don't need. Luckily I bought all of mine before this happened, but you now have to pass that on. And if you charge 20%, 30%, 40%, 50% upcharge, your price still doubles. So there's no winning here. Nobody's winning. We're not.
Well, Trump is, and his cronies are.
But not really.
They're winning financially, ripping the government,
Maybe.
ripping everybody else off.
Maybe, but at the end of the day, not maybe now, maybe in the short term. But look at, we're not bringing that back here. We're not bringing manufacturing and clothing here. I mean, we have China, we have Bangladesh, we have all of these poor countries that now have these paused tariffs, but have these exorbitant tariffs on them. You are not only going to bankrupt these countries, but you're going to completely shut down all of their manufacturing, and essentially all of those people lose their jobs who are already poor to begin with. You're going to kill all those people. They will starve to death. You're going to kill an entire country to bring back sewing, clothing manufacturing.
Well, I mean,
why?
First of all, who's going to do the job?
Nobody.
Because the immigrants that were, I hate to say that, but Americans, we're not going out and picking fruit and stuff like.
But we shouldn't.
You know what I mean? Like the immigrants would.
There's a reason we do it the way we. There's a reason. There's a reason, and I understand. Like, there's a reason that corporations have taken those things to other countries. It's to keep the cost of things down. There are other things that we could 100% bring back here, but there is a way to do it that doesn't create trade wars, that doesn't increase costs, that doesn't cause the stock market to crash, that doesn't create this angst and hatred from every single country. You just alienated all of your allies.
But why are we surprised? Who's surprised? It's Donald Trump.
I'm not surprised at all.
And I think what's even worse, the tariffs are a huge issue for us as a country. But what's even worse is taking away the benefits, that the social benefits that really do help the less fortunate folks in our country.
Absolutely, and not just our country.
They're taking those. Well, we're going to start right here in the United States.
Right.
They're taking those.
Right.
They're taking away, like I said, even the bill here in Arizona, which impacted, the America's, the disabilities, children with disabilities, including autism, including the ones who are not mobile on their own. We had people yesterday come to the Capitol and talk to the Senate and the House about how having those type of services help them to get degrees, get jobs, live on their own, live in homes that support Americans with disabilities. And those are the services that they are taking away in order to better somebody else that's already rich.
Right.
Like getting rid of the VA, the benefits for the VA folks who fought for this country. It's like a trickling effect. And so again, I'm going to go back and say to the people that voted for Donald Trump, this is what you voted for. You just didn't think it was going to impact you.
Right.
And now it's impacting you.
Rural communities, farming. Yeah. I mean, it is impacting small businesses. It's impacting the people that voted for him. It's impacting the communities that voted for him. It's impacting the areas that thought that he was going to help them the most. And there is no plan.
And I
There's
say
no
this with love and kindness, but how in the heck did you think he was going to help you if you're not making, if you're not in the top 1%? How is he going to help you?
I think because you are told something over and over and over again. It is the cult of MAGA. They want to believe it. It's the single issue voters that vote specifically for this because this is what they want. So they believe everything else. And
Yeah, but he himself
it doesn't matter.
has said some
It doesn't
things out of
matter.
his own mouth. He
He
doesn't like people who get captured, like John McCain.
But that doesn't matter.
He didn't like people with
He's kidding.
disabilities.
He's kidding.
He doesn't like
He's
women.
kidding. Doesn't matter.
And you believe he likes you? And I definitely don't understand
I
that
mean,
from the brown or
preaching.
black community,
You're preaching.
folks who voted for, for Trump. I don't get it. There's nothing about the economy that he could do that will benefit me positively.
Well,
and we see that now.
The idea is he's not a politician, he's a businessman.
Who filed bankruptcy 6 times.
Correct.
I'm gonna go back.
And he's a terrible businessman. He's not a good businessman. He has more failed businesses than successful ones. So let's just get that out of the way. But the fact of the matter is that I've said this before, the government is not a business. It should be run more as a nonprofit. It shouldn't be run as a business. You should not privatize things in the government. It should be run so that everything goes back into the government. You're paying back to the people that pay to the government, that money goes back into the people, back into the community, not to someone's pocket. And it doesn't necessarily do that. I mean, it's unfortunate that it's now become this whole, money-making scheme where we're manipulating the market through these tariffs to just make a bunch of money. They shouldn't be able to do that.
And that's why we need to get people out to vote. That's why we need to get people re-engaged. That's why we need to get people educated, and touch all the communities, not just those who we know will most likely vote. Go out to the rural communities, go out to the Black communities, go out to the Asian communities. Native Americans are huge. We need to get them involved, and so they understand what they're voting for, or by not voting, you are voting. Right. You are giving someone else your voice. And I think I will go back to this all the time, is like, it was 1965. That was 60 years ago, right? No, I can't do math. Somebody do math.
It doesn't matter. 1965.
Whatever. 60 years ago. I'm right. Yes. 7 years ago. Okay, so 70 years ago, that's not so long. That's in our parents' lifetime, right? That people of color had the right to vote. They got the right to vote. 45 years after white men and white women.
And they're still trying to take that away from them. And women, as a matter of fact.
45 years after white women got the right to vote, white men have always had the right to vote. So it's not so long ago, people. So we have to get people involved. 1, understand the history of this country. 2, understand why your vote matters. 3, if your vote didn't matter, people wouldn't be trying to suppress your vote and take it away. Let's just start there. Number 4, if people weren't afraid of you and your political power, they wouldn't be putting in processes or laws in place to limit you. It's all the same thing. So we have to get back, especially here in Arizona, especially here in LD12. If we flip the ledge, in LD12, we have a big voter block. If we flip the ledge, we can get back to what we need to be as a society.
Yeah.
So,
and I think finding a focus in small businesses as well is really important, because we're the ones that are going to be affected a lot more than the top 1% or necessarily corporations. So if we can reach small businesses and then focus on voters educating voters and reaching local elections as well. So we're going to talk a little bit more in the next show about local elections and what's happening locally in our districts, and kind of what's going to be coming up in the next,
Well,
few months.
Senator
Or
Mitzi Epstein, we'll have her on the
we'll have
show
her on
to talk
to
about
talk.
the legislature and what's happening and the bills being passed. That really the Democrats have no power over because
Right.
they're just voting partisan.
Yep.
So we'll get her on and talk more about what's impacting us locally.
Yeah. So we'll talk about what's impacting us locally and how we can help with that. So please let us know if you want us to talk about anything in specific. Everything is constantly changing, so we'll try and keep up as much as we can. But please like and share the show. This is the Around the District podcast, and we will share as much as we can for as many times as we can. Just like, share
Around the district.
around the districts.